I'm Vicki Hogarth, and welcome to Southwest Magazine. The International Homecoming Festival takes place in St. Stephen, New Brunswick and Calais, Maine from August 7th to 10th. Here to tell us all about it are Patty Anderson, Ghislaine Wheaton, and Roxanne Redding. Thank you all for coming in today.
Well, thank you for having us.
And we're having both sides of the border represented as well, because Roxanne, you represent the Calais side of the festival. I'd like to start off, though, by talking about, it started in 1974, this festival. So it's the 50th anniversary, but not, as I understand, the 50th edition of the festival. Ghislaine, I'm going to let you talk about that.
That's correct. Because in 1974, we actually had the very first festival. So it's actually 51 festivals that we're having this year, but it's our 50th anniversary.
Wow.
So it's wonderful.
This festival has seen so much over the years.
And it doesn't seem like any time at all, like, you know, there have been so many and we've really enjoyed them. So it's great, wonderful.
It definitely means more. I know that we were talking before the cameras were rolling about how this festival showcases what close communities we are on both sides of the border, but the fact that we've lived through a pandemic, still held strong, had this festival going, means so much. And that brings us to the theme of this year. Patty, tell us a little bit about what this 2024 theme is.
Well, this year our theme is Two Countries, One Heart, which is so appropriate because we truly are. There's two different countries, but we do share one heart. And so many of our families are connected through both sides of the border, like Calais, St. Stephen, but even even to the islands, really, and probably further than that. But the connections from each community does spread throughout Charlotte County and Washington County, for sure, I would say.
And what better way to represent that in the fact that the co-chairs of the International Committee are you, Patty.
Yes.
And you, Roxanne, on the Calais side. What does this year's theme mean to you?
Well, I know a lot of people from my work and just people I've met from going back and forth because it's so close. It's a more unique border, I think, than anywhere else. Usually they're out in Maine, they're out in the middle of nowhere. But we can see each other. We can stand and wave to people on the other side. So it's another country. People who don't live here don't understand that, and you make a lot of friends. And there's a lot of people that are married, that you see the marriages, one U.S., one Canadian, and they live either one side or the other or whatever. There's a lot of it, a lot of families integrated through, from outsides of the towns and, all around.
Patty, I know you a little bit about before the festival kicks off, which is August 7th. There is a pre-festival event, and that is an international pageant.
Yes, it is. That's called the Miss International Pageant, and this year it's going to be held in St. Stephen. And there used to be a Miss International Pageant that was quite large, and I don't know when it ceased happening. I really don't know the date on that. But last year they did, I think it was Jana Smith of the committee last year did organize just really a startup one. And this year Arlene Sears is doing it on the St. Stephen side, or also known as Arlene Fry. And if you need her contact information, I know she's looking for people to be participating in it. It's going to take place, this is tentative but pretty sure, it's going to take place on the St. Stephen Wharf.
Oh, nice.
So it's an outdoor event. It's not going to be as entailed as way back in the beginning, but it's just trying to get back to hosting them. But it's going to be more fun, more casual, as it was last year.
Is this, what age range are we looking for?
Well, I looked back to, she showed me her information, and I know it could be anywhere from 0 and up.
Okay.
And I mean, but it ends at teens, right? Like, it's not adults.
If you see me in it, please tell me.
You're welcome to join. They are looking for judges. I don't know. Anyways.
So and we'll put this information up on the screen. It's Arlene Fry at hotmail.com or 506-467-1545.
Exactly. Or you can message her, Arlene Sears, on Facebook.
Okay, wonderful. And then we kick off the festival with the famous Hands Across the Border. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect August 7th. Do you want to start, Roxanne?
Well, we get all the dignitaries to come out to the middle of the bridge. We have two huge flags that are dropped down on the side of the bridge, which the Canadian flag and the American flag. And I all choked up when I even think about it, let alone look at it. And then, the dignitaries shake hands and meet and greet. And we started a few years back of exchanging flags. So we get the little flags on the stick, the American flags and the Canadian flags, and the kids love it. Get their little flag and whatever, and they exchange them. And it's just, it's nice. It's a nice, like I said, gesture from both countries, because like the two countries went hard again.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of connections there.
Definitely, it is like you say though. You don't expect it to be as emotional as it is.
Yeah,
because you do feel how closely connected our communities are. And I think it's funny when, for instance, when my friends come to visit, I always say, drive through Maine. It's faster. Oh, we'd have to cross the border twice. I'm like, no, it's not a big deal.
You're crossing one border. You're talking two different borders, actually. So, yeah.
What is your favorite part about the opening of the festival?
Well, it really is about the handshake. It's when the dignitaries, they do line up, they do come in and they greet one another. The mayor from each side has a message. And then, of course, both anthems are either played or sung, and it just creates such a combined patriotism, maybe is a good way to put it, and it's just beautiful. And the handshake, that to me has been probably the one thing that has stayed very constant throughout the celebrations. But yeah, I think the opening ceremony is still a favorite.
And it's true. If you live in border towns like ours, where we cross often and we don't just mingle with each other, we have friends and family on both sides. I think that our ideas of what Canadians and Americans are so different, because we actually do know stuff that's not based just on what you see on television. It's a real community connection.
And I think it has grown, like in the last 10 years, just that opening. Because I remember going and there were very few people. And now every year it just seems to increase, and especially like since COVID, because we couldn't go there, right? And now that we could go there, and even my grandchildren just love coming and waving their flags. They think it's wonderful that they have two flags, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just a beautiful celebration, and I'm going to put it out there if I can.
Please.
I know that our U.S. neighbors across the border, they get so many people that show up, and ours is growing again. But be there. Don't miss it.
and it doesn't take very long.
No,
right?
No.
it really doesn't.
It's beautiful. I wouldn't want to miss it. And Ghislaine, what has it been like seeing it over the decades? How has it changed and evolved?
But like I said, it has grown and it seems to have more meaning. I think at first we were doing it.
Right.
But I mean, or maybe it's that I'm getting older. It has more, like I have more attachment to it. And I think we really think about where we live on a border and we have two countries, like you kind of take it for granted. But now it's
definitely makes hands across the border live up to what it represents, because even when we weren't allowed to be together, we still found
Ways to do it. Yeah.
And someone mentioned it at our committee meeting the other night, how they remembered how there were people waiting in line to cross to come into Canada, and they questioned what's going on, and they'd got out of their car and they actually took part, but they wanted to know what it was about, and they were so excited, and they said, oh, can we be part of this? So I mean, it just extended the whole thing, I guess, to other people.
Now, I think the event that the kids coming to International Fest will be excited about, that really starts on Thursday. Can you tell us about what we can expect on August 8th?
So on August 8th from 2 to 6, we're hosting, again this year, this is the second year we've done it, the International Homecoming Festival Kids Fun Day. And so there's just going to be a lot of like carnival type games and prizes. Admission is free. Chocolate Fest is going to be participating in this event with us this year. So they'll be having a couple of activities. I know that the Tots for Tennis is coming back, Herb and Linda Duplessis. They're hosting that. And also there's a new thing, Dooley's, a new activity. Dooley's has found what they call a cash cube. So it's going to be a really fun event, and they can get prizes. So there's no fees for admission. There will be concession stands, so those will be fees, of course. And I think one of the Chocolate Fest events, there's a fee to participate, like the chocolate pudding contest or something. But other than that, and we have invited the Calais side, if there's anyone out there that wants to be part of that, like to bring an activity over to St. Stephen's so that it has more of that international feel. That's our goal, is to both sides having more international feel events where they're participating from both sides, just to extend that whole international feel. So that's basically that. It's a really fun event. It was well attended last year, and we do like to try and sponsor things that will allow community to be participating without it being much cost.
Now, will this be mostly at the Garceland? Is that the headquarters for?
Yeah, so the floor will be down over the ice. So if it's hot out, it'll be nice and cool inside. And so it'll happen on the arena floor at the Garceland Civic Center.
And just to stress this for people at home watching, there are ways, if you want to be a part of this right now and you think you have something that could add to it, that they can
contact. Yeah, they can contact us.
Vendors.
Right? You can contact us. Well, we're basically, for this one, it's activities and it's kid focused.
Okay.
And we try not to have things that are being sold, especially because we want it to be as free as possible. So people that are coming in, like I know, I think Eastern Charlotte Waterways last year, they did like a fishing game. So, and that would be an international event because it is an international organization. And so they would throw something over, like as if they were fishing. It looked like there would be water, and they'd tap something on the other end that gave them a prize. And there's just little things like that. So if, there was a church group involved last year, maybe they'll be back again this year, I hope. But different groups and or businesses even put on activities last year, but they were free to the attendees.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last year was the first year that was held.
Right.
And the kids loved it. Like,
The Lionettes were big volunteers at that event, actually.
We volunteered
Yeah.
there. So anyway, it was wonderful. Like, there were so many people there. And she also mentioned that the Chocolate Fest, now Chocolate Fest, as you know, starts a few days earlier.
I think the 4th or 5th, whatever that Monday is.
Yeah,
New Brunswick Day.
New Brunswick Day. And also, this little plug-in for Chocolate Fest, they also have the Cocktail Hour that night, but the tickets are all sold out.
The
Always.
parents know they need it.
Always.
They've sold them out like 30 minutes after they went on sale, right?
Yeah, it's such a big event.
But what great festivals to overlap.
So it's great, and it'll be like the whole day. So.
And Patty, can you tell us a little bit about what's happening on Friday the 9th as we gear up for the big day on the 10th?
So what I know now is that we do have the Charlotte County Jeep Nuts Annual International Jeep Run 2024, and they are hosting a show and shine, which is going to take place all on King Street from Briggs down to the corner of King. And so there will be Jeep Nuts, Jeeps, classic cars, vehicles, whatever, as well as ATVs, and I know it's full. This brings a lot of people to the community because it's not just our locals that have the Jeeps. It's from throughout New Brunswick and maybe the U.S. too. I'm not really sure, but they will be. They're staying the night. They have a run, and it brings a lot of I want to say revenue to the community. So that's what it's about for us. Like, we look at it, that it creates a fun event, but it also helps our businesses, right?
Yes, and my father-in-law, I am under strict guidelines to tell him about any car show that is in our area.
Yeah, well, that's happening.
So that's note to self.
And while it's happening, I mean, there's the live bands going to be playing, and so it makes for a very festive evening, I would say. So that is happening, as well as the Moonlight Festival, which is being hosted by Five Kings and the downtown St. Stephen businesses. And it's happening in the plaza right near, in between the library and the Five Kings. And the two live bands are the Steve Whalen Band and the Boundary Street Blues Band.
Okay.
And they'll be playing, I think this is all happening from 7 until midnight, 7 p.m. until midnight.
And then that brings us into Saturday, which is the big day.
The parade starts at 12 o'clock U.S.
And it's going to
1 o'clock
start
Canadian.
And it's going to start on the U.S. side and go into Canada. There was some little bumps in the road on how it's gone back and forth over the years, and we're trying to get it back on track so that, I mean, in order to be a full international festival, it should be taking care, you know, both sides, both our customs, you know, the U.S. and Canadian customs have a lot of work to do for whichever way it's going, you know, and they, you know, it's not fair for one to do it over and over again, right?
So it'll start this year on the Calais side.
Start on the Calais side, and we'll get back on track of the going back and forth every year.
Okay.
I don't have anything definitive, but I can tell you in the past generally what's going to happen, because not everything's set yet. Because like I said, it's not due till July 15th.
Right.
So.
And people could still enter the parade, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, registration. You can register up until the 15th, and on the 15th.
For the parade, August 5th.
August 5th.
Right.
Yes, sorry.
Yes, and threw me off what I was going to say now.
But the event
and I want to encourage people to, you know, put their floats in. I mean, you can put the bigger the parade, the better. You know, there is an entrance fee.
No fees. No fees anymore.
No fees anymore?
No.
Thank you. See, nobody told me that. That's from my days in the past. Well, that's good. So the more the merrier. We want to have a nice big parade. You know, it would be great if we had. I don't know how. I don't remember in the past how they've been really big in the past.
I remember last year we had people on the Canadian side filming, but I watched from the American side last year, so I filmed it all with my phone. Just one, and I think it was 35 minutes. I think it was at least 35 minutes.
Well, I think they've been even longer than that in the past. So it depends on the participation. If we can encourage businesses to put their vehicle in or whatever, or people, and decorate their trucks.
What great free advertising too.
Yeah, it is, especially if there's something. I lost my train of thought.
Is the route, so you understand that you expect a lot of participants,
right,
but the route itself is shorter this year?
Yeah, that's...
Well, I guess because it's going to start at Dead River Oil down, down, which isn't that far. It's like down across from the Calais Motor Inn, and then so for us, it's going to be just a straight shot all the way down. When it gets to Canada,
it's going to come up Milltown Boulevard, then it's going to turn up King Street, and at the lights on the corner where Briggs Plumbing is, they can turn off whichever way they want. The parade ends right there. Right. But we are really looking for, whether you're having a high school reunion or whatever, some type of reunion where you might want to put an entry in the parade. We would love to have you. We're hoping maybe even someone out there would take an interest in creating a float for past Miss Internationals. We think that would be a really great, fun thing to do. And I mean, we know there's been some successes among so many of our sports on both sides of the border that maybe they want to put a float in and celebrate the fact of what they've done this year. You know, these are just some ideas. Whether you're a church group, a service group, sports club, you know, a reunion of sorts, that you feel that you should be in the parade. I mean, we're happy to have you.
And and how many people can say they've used their passport to walk in a parade? Is that how it works? And you work at the border too.
Well, well, only for a couple more days. So how does it work as far as?
I've never thought about the logistics
when they come through.
So I'm never at that part of the parade.
So the people that are in the parade are vetted prior to being able. They have to be vetted. So when it's going into Canada, we have to get all the stuff together, and it goes to your CBSA. So they will take care of all that.
Right.
Because if there's anybody that's not allowed, they can't. That happens on occasion. But so it goes to whichever way it's coming in every year. So it's supposed to, that again, the alternating, because it's a lot of work to do that, especially if you have a really, really big parades. That takes some time.
Yeah. Sure.
To go through
and
all
risk,
that.
like one country taking all the risk to just always say we're welcoming them just on paper, so to speak. And you have to trust that's who's in the vehicle, and I mean they will and can stop you to check. So it's important that people have their passports with them. But
Yeah.
But it's all done ahead of time.
Right.
That's all
Like
done ahead of
they're
time.
best in
That's
their-
the deadline
yeah,
for
best
August
work
5th for
Right.
parade registrations.
And it's such a neat
And not
parade.
everybody has passports either, so a lot of
No.
people,
True.
like kids and stuff, have
Yeah.
your birth certificates
Yes,
or whatever.
birth
so that's,
certificates,
yeah.
But it's such an opportunity too to see the groups from the other side of the border, because if we're having, let's say, our Canada Day parades, it tends to be just from our Canadian side community. So it is a neat experience to have all these groups walking together, not
It's
necessarily
fun.
in
I
order.
find it's emotional every time I see it.
It is.
It's like, yeah.
What's so emotional about it to you? Why do you find it
I
hits
don't
a
know
chord?
because I mean, I'm not even technically from Calais. I've lived there a majority of my life. I was born in a small town in central Maine, and I don't know. I'm just that kind of person because I get, emotional about a lot of stuff, and I just love how the two work together. And all the marriages, this is like, okay, so she's American, he's Canadian, whatever, but they have, maybe have gotten dual citizenship or whatever. It's really, I don't know, it's heartwarming, I guess.
Seeing two countries celebrating
Yeah.
as one, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just the parade that goes both sides. There's a street festival
Yeah.
too, which is a lot of fun. Can you tell us, Patty, I'll start with you, what we can expect from this year's street festival?
Well, so far, all I really know is from 10 until 4, we're having our first street fair. Maybe they had it years ago, I don't know, but this is the first one for us this year. And it's going to be held along, again, from Briggs down to the corner of Milltown Boulevard. And it's been opened up to the businesses in the downtown sector to, if they want to do something like a sidewalk event or a foodie event or whatever. And once we know how many of them want to take up that space, we will then move on to our vendors market, people that are part of the vendors market, once known as the farmers market. They will then have permission to be part of it, and then we'll extend it even further if we have room. So it's really about keeping people, even the parade being shortened, it's about keeping people in the downtown area and celebrating together and seeing the parade together and just supporting the local businesses and vendors or whatever together. So that's this year's fair so far.
Then I do predict a record number of people crossing the border on foot, because there is a great thrill in going to Martin's on your own feet.
Right, and so therefore, you guys have had a street fair for many years, and I think
Yes.
the Calais Chamber of Commerce, I think, are the host of that.
They handle that because we can't. I mean, like it is like we're all volunteer. We're not. None of us are paid to do this, so it's like
big street
we
fair.
work. Yeah,
It's really fun.
So they handle that, and they have the spaces, and if anybody's interested, in just contact them. We'd like to see a lot, a lot of vendors if we can get them.
A lot of people from St. Stephen go across, and I think that's just another fun way to be doing an international event on both sides of the border at the same time, and we can keep the crossing going on, right?
We have a volunteer road toll on our side every year too. That's going to be on July 27th. It's always on South Street, and so we'll be doing that. I think we start 8 a.m. until I don't know later in the afternoon when traffic dries down or it's too hot. There's been sometimes we're out there standing and it's so miserably hot, but it helps to help us pay for a lot of the activities that we provide because we don't have we have to do that to pay for the stuff.
Also invite volunteers
Yep.
from the Canadian side
Yes.
To help on it.
To help on it.
Yep,
yes.
they come. Right. Yeah, that's fun. We have a good time.
Well, I was going to say, the reason I watched the parade from the American side last year is because I got caught up shopping at the street festival.
You went to Martin and you went to
On the street festival, it's so big. So to see that continue across onto the Canadian side will be, I love to have a passport in hand and reusable shopping bag in the other. That's exciting. So for the final day of International Homecoming, tell us a little bit about after the street fair, after the parade. We've got live music on the water, followed by the fireworks. But tell us what we can expect this year, Patty.
So what I know for sure is we have DJ Ian Curran doing the pre-fireworks show this year. And so I think he'll be playing in the waterfront at 7:30 Canadian time. right until dusk, until the fireworks start. But I know that they have usually on the Calais side, they also usually have someone performing. That's still being confirmed, I think. So
yes.
I won't say who that may be.
Right.
But
I believe they have somebody lined up for Saturday. And like I said, you don't know either. And we usually have like vendor trucks and stuff down around there. The pizza guy. And,
Yeah.
different things to hopefully.
And I know this year that there have been people that said, like some people maybe from our vendors market, have already said they want to be there the night of the fireworks, and there's some other things. So that's really exciting. And we just thank the Calais Committee and the City of Calais, because they truly hold the, I want to say, they support the budget for the fireworks. We definitely make a contribution from the town of St. Stephen as well, Municipal District of St. Stephen. But I do know that they do. They make sure it's done.
Thank you all for coming in today. And if people want to follow online, where's the best place to go as we see events sort of fill the calendar?
The International Homecoming Festival Facebook page, probably also on the International Homecoming Festival website. I didn't bring that information, but I know if you type in International Homecoming Festival, you will find it. I know that the Calais, sometimes there will be forms like for like the parade, probably at the Calais City Building. There will be forms for the parade at the Municipal District Office or the Garceland Civic Center, and all of that will be on Facebook. All of the stuff that we try to keep informed, we'll put the road toll on there and everything else ahead of time, just so people can have an idea.
Great. Well, thank you all so much for coming in today, and I look forward to seeing you at the festival.
Thank you. We look forward to you being there.
Thank you very much.
My guests today have been Patty Anderson, Ghislaine Wheaton, and Roxanne Redding. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Thank you for watching Southwest Magazine.
Southwest Magazine is a news and public affairs production of CHCO Television.